Hey, how's it going, everybody? I hope you're having a super fantastic day. Welcome to my new studio. I'm so pumped on this. I've been working on it for a while, and just for everyone who's a supporter of this channel, thanks for bearing with me over the past 7 or so months. It's been forever since I've updated you with another video, so thank you for being here. I'm really excited to start making content again. So many things have changed in my life, from just dropping out of college to getting married, and probably should have led with that. And just moving into a new place and just really getting established in my new life. So thanks again for bearing with me, and let's just jump right into the video. So the topic of today's video is, why did I switch to Sony? We're going to be talking about why this switch was really significant for me, and also why it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But I wanted to talk about it because it was kind of one of the biggest things that's happened for me and in my filmmaking career. And so we're going to kind of break down what led me to the decision of switching to Sony from shooting on Micro Four Thirds, and kind of give you some of the backstory on that. So essentially, I have kind of been in a limbo for the past year, not really knowing what was going to come next between dropping out of college, looking for jobs, moving into a new place, and then finally getting married. I got married a month ago, which is crazy. But yeah, I have kind of been in all these different phases of life within such a short period of time, which means that my requirements for what gear I need to make content, or even what I was making at the time, was I shooting freelance projects? Was I wanting to do more YouTube, or was I wanting to do more narrative filmmaking and things like that? I didn't even really know. And so over this time, I haven't really had a consistent camera setup. I sold my GH5 over the summer. I was a little unhappy with it. I was looking to upgrade it to something different. I tried out a bunch of cameras, guys. I shot on multiple different Blackmagic cameras. I shot on a Z-Cam. I shot on several different cameras, and none of them really clicked to me. Partly because I was kind of focusing more on the cinema side of things, because I was like, I don't want to do YouTube types of videos. I don't want a camera that's well suited to that. I just want to focus on cinematic stuff, right? Well, that's great, but I didn't really find myself doing those types of projects very often. Projects like short films and music videos, which is what I was kind of investing into. I found myself really frustrated whenever I wanted to do just a simple project, whether it be a YouTube video or just a short, fun travel video or something like that. I was really frustrated because I really couldn't do that with something like a Z-Cam. And so I've kind of been in this limbo of not really creating content, not having a consistent and reliable camera setup that I can just grab and go with and power on and just know that it's going to work. And so I've kind of been on the hunt for the perfect camera system for me, and that kind of required me to be really honest about what my needs were from a camera. So around this time, my wife Emily was shooting on Fujifilm. She's been shooting Fuji for the better part of a year as well. She loved her X-T2, but she was looking to get more lenses for it. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm also looking to get lenses for my Z-Cam, because I didn't really have a very mature selection of lenses for that. And so we were both looking to invest a bunch in lenses, but then I had the thought, wait a second, what if we got on the same camera system? That way we could buy less lenses and share them, and ultimately our money would go a lot further if we were on the same camera system. And she was all for that. She was totally down to switch to whatever I recommended, which was awesome. And I was kind of on the hunt from getting a camera that would just be good for video to getting a camera that was also really good for taking photos, or at least getting into a camera system that had a really good option for video shooters and a really good option for photo shooters. And so I, at the time, had been really eyeing the Panasonic cameras, the new Panasonic full frame cameras, and even the new GH6 that had just come out. I was like, maybe I should stick with that. Ended up kind of shying away from Micro Four Thirds, which is a story in and of itself. Ultimately, I don't think that Micro Four Thirds has much of a future. I'm not going to say that Micro Four Thirds is dead, but we'll talk about this on a later episode. I was mainly eyeing the Panasonic full frame cameras. The S5 looked amazing. The S1H, I almost pulled the trigger on. But what ultimately got me hung up was the lens selection. The lens selections for the Panasonic camera, the L mount, currently are just not that great. They're really expensive. They're very good, but there's just not a huge selection of them, and ultimately I just couldn't really afford it. So I was looking into the Sony system and I was like, okay, as far as Sony mirrorless goes, they have the most mature lineup of lenses ever. If you shoot on a DSLR, Canon EF is like by far the most mature lens lineup. But if you shoot mirrorless, Sony is where it's at. There are so many options for Sony lenses all across the spectrum of budgets. You can get a lot of like really affordable lenses for Sonys. You can get a lot of very expensive lenses for Sonys. And so I was like, okay, that's something I can work with. And also, like, if I were completely honest with myself, my dream camera would be something like an FX6 or an FX9. Or if I was looking to get into like a small mirrorless camera, probably like an A7S III. Granted, I couldn't afford those cameras as much as I wanted to, but, you know, thinking about the future, the market is kind of going towards larger format sensors, so I don't want to really invest a lot in micro four thirds. Sony is doing a lot of things that I really, really like, and I mean, in the long run, I want to invest in gear that's going to last for a long time. Gear that's going to stick with me from camera body to camera body, particularly lenses that are going to stick with me from camera body to camera body. I want to know that no matter what, if I upgrade, I have a clear upgrade path. And before I didn't really have that. I was just like shooting on whatever. So I ended up finding a really good deal on a Sony FS5 Mark II, which is what I'm shooting with right now. And guys, I'm going to be making an entire video about this camera. I was a little bit nervous because it's a little bit older, right? Technically speaking, it doesn't have the best recording options compared to even something like my previous GH5. But holy cow, everything else, guys, I am just over the moon for this FS5. I'm definitely going to make a video at a future date about it, but it's perfect for what I'm doing right now, which is a little bit of short film work and narrative work, a little bit of like wedding work, and a little bit of YouTube work. This camera just like, it's just always ready to go for whatever video project I would ever want to throw at it would be. So like, so excited on it. Definitely going to be making a dedicated video about this FS5 because I am just in love with it, guys. I am so in love with it. As for my wife, Emily, she ended up with a Sony a7 III. Honestly, it's awesome. Like I always never really considered the Sony mirrorless cameras. The a7 III was really popular a couple years ago, and I'd seen videos on it. I'm like, yeah, it's the a7 III, it's whatever. Guys, it's a great camera. Like, it's incredible. It's so well built. It like the full frame look, I didn't think it existed. I thought people were just kind of full of it. I was like, micro four thirds is all that anyone ever needs. Guys, the full frame look is kind of nice. I don't think you need shallow depth of field for everything, but guys, it's so nice. It's so nice. Hopefully I'm not like making you discontent with whatever the camera system that you have right now is, but for me, this is working out really well. Honestly, the camera you use doesn't really matter. What's important is that you're using it and that you're making art with it and that you're using it and enjoying it and all that good stuff. What you're shooting with doesn't really matter, but it made the most amount of sense for me, who, you know, has a wife who does photography, and like we both have needs for lenses and pieces of equipment. It just made a lot more sense for us to get into a system that we could share lenses with. We weren't buying two of every kind of lens for, you know, two different camera systems. Like, we can use each other's lenses, and that's really nice. And that makes a lot of sense for us. And also, guys, FS5, such a great value. Like, the price has just come down so much over the years. And honestly, I couldn't say no to all of the functionality that this camera has. I am absolutely in love with it. Anyways, guys, that about does it for this video. I wanted to make a just quick, short little video about why I switched to Sony, why I'm probably most likely going to be continue shooting on Sony for the foreseeable future, why that decision made a lot of sense to me. And guys, I'm just really excited to be making content with this camera. Like, I'm pumped. I haven't been really that inspired to make anything for a while. So it feels so good to be back. It feels so good to be in front of the camera again, making a video for you guys in this studio. It's fantastic, guys. I'm so excited, and I hope that you continue to follow me on my filmmaking journey as I go from basically a beginner to someone who's actually working on like proper projects. So anyways, for all of those supporters who are out there, I know you're out there. I've talked to some of you guys. You guys are really, really cool people from all over the world, which is insane to me. Thank you so much for bearing with me all this time. and I'm really excited to continue to make some content for you. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.